Hey everyone, what is going on and welcome back to today's video. In today's video we're getting into another episode of the operator guides, and in today's video we're going to be going over, as the title says, Iana. So I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. Iana, I really don't care. Iana is what I'm going to refer to her as. If it's anything else, then I'm probably going to get comments anyway. And I seem to always mispronounce all their names, so I'm just going to get flamed anyway, but Iana is what we're going with. That's what we're going to be referring to her as in this video. So as always, we are going to just get into this video and do an operator guide reviewing all of the weapon statistics, stuff like that on this operator. If you do find this video helpful, make sure to leave a like, drop a sub and notification bell, and also make sure to come check out my Twitch streams. Links in the description down below. I'd love to see you guys there. If you're interested in any of those, I'd really appreciate it. But obviously, if you're here for the Iana guide, let's get into it. So as always, we're going to start off with the weapon review, then we're going to move on to the gadget utilization and finish off with the operator strategies. So without further ado, we get into the weapon review. Now Iana has access to two primary weapons. The ARX 200 is her first one, coming in at 47 damage on 700 rounds per minute with 20 rounds in the magazine. Now 47 damage, 700 rounds per minute, that is a good all-around statistic for a weapon, you'll find. But the thing that lets the ARX down, in my opinion, is its magazine size. 20 bullets, it's alright, it's definitely enough if you can It definitely is enough. Let's just put it there. But if in terms of situations where you may find yourself not hitting those first few shots, you're gonna run out of ammo far before the person you're shooting at does. And unless they're using like a shotgun, I don't think there's really many other guns that have that low of an ammo count in ARs or SMGs. So you're gonna find yourself in difficult situations majority of the time if you're not hitting those first few shots. And it's gonna just put yourself in a difficult situation that you're probably not going to like. But if you do prefer this weapon, this gun does have an ACOG, the G3 does not, which is their alternative. We'll get into that soon. So if you prefer an ACOG weapon, and you feel confident enough in using these 20 bullets, that's completely fine. I honestly probably wouldn't mind using the ARX. Like, it's kind of like 20 bullets is enough to kind of regroup. It's just you do run out of ammo quite fast, especially if you're getting into multiple gunfights. Like, say your aim is pretty good, but you kill one person and then you have to get that reload off, or you're not going to have enough to fight the second guy. It really does just come into depending on the situation, how well you handle it as well. That is another key factor of having these low ammo guns. So it really just depends on how you can control yourself and how well you play in these situations, on whether you'll actually be effective with this gun or not. But in my opinion, it is a great weapon, but I'd probably bring the G3 just because personally I'm a bit of a potato and I need that extra ammo in my magazine. But with these primary weapons, I'm probably not going to give any recommendations because they're both great. It just depends to come up on what type of playstyle and how confident you are in yourself with what weapon you want to pick. But with that said, let's get into the other weapon, the G36C. This comes in at 38 damage on 780 rounds per minute, so it obviously does 9 less damage, but it has 80 more rounds per minute fire rate. So that's honestly not too much. I feel like it wouldn't make a significant difference. It would really critically make it exceptionally better than the ARX, but the 30 bullets in the magazine is definitely handy. This has access to a 2x scope, so it's a little bit less than the 2.5, which is what is considered the ACOG, but it's still 2x is still enough, in my opinion at least. And the damage count really doesn't bother me at all, due to the fact that, like, you'll find most of the time that I like to say I'd hit heads more than I would hit bodies in most gunfights, because I've practiced my crosshair placement probably a little bit too much. And the fire rate is good and consistent for an assault rifle, so I feel like all around this is the weapon that I would enjoy using. But as I said before, the ARXs, there's not really any preference I'd give because they're both really good weapons. It really just depends on what you want to bring on the attacking side. If you're looking for that longer range and maybe shorter ammo and just more straight up damage, then you're going to want to bring the ARX. It's going to provide higher damage, it's going to provide more range, a little bit more range, and it's probably just all around a much more powerful weapon. But if you're looking for a more consistent, concise weapon with good regular capacity, sorry I couldn't get that out, regular capacity size, reasonable damage, 38 damage, it's not as good as the ARX obviously, but it's still in a good category of damage in my opinion, and a higher fire rate than the G36C is for you. You just have to look at your playstyle and just think which one really fits mine better. Her secondary weapon that she has access to is the MK1 9mm. It is the only secondary she has access to. It does 48 damage on a trigger finger fire rate with 13 bullets in the magazine. Sorry, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. So this is a great alternative for these weapons, and especially if you want to pair this up with the ARX. 48 damage a shot is quite significantly high. It obviously is a pistol, but you can still use this effectively to get high damage outputs out if you find yourself out of ammo in your primary and you need to do switch you need to do quick switching, so it is a great weapon for this type of utility, and because it has such a reasonable damage count, it can really become effective in those situations. And I wouldn't recommend it, you have to bring it, but it's a good weapon to whip out if you have to. In terms of her gadget, she has access to the frag grenade and the smoke grenades. 100% bring the frag grenades. I feel like they fit her character more, just in the way she plays and stuff. The smoke grenades can be useful for plants and stuff, but I'd say leave the smoking to people like Capitao, Montang, stuff like that, people who actually have beneficial stuff for this. And I think frag grenades definitely just fit Iana's playstyle a lot better, so I'd recommend bringing them. And that's going to be her weapon review. Let's move on to the gadget utilization. So Iana's gadget that she has access to, her operator-specific one, is the Gemini replicator, is its actual name, but most people, I feel like, just consider it as the hologram. It deploys a remote-controlled holographic copy of Iana to fool opponents and gather intel. Now, to give a little bit more of an in-detail description of this gadget, this gadget essentially just deploys a second copy of yourself when you press it, and when you deploy the second copy of yourself, you become completely immobilized, which means you do not do anything. Your actual character, it's like you're droning pretty much. Your character goes still, and you control this second character of yours. And while controlling the second character, you have the ability to vault, move, run, peek. You can do anything that you can do as a normal operator, except obviously throwing your nades and stuff and shooting your gun, so you can't do any form of damage. It's essentially just a advanced drone that you can use to gather intel on pushing points where you want to push in the future of the round. So where I'm going with this is essentially when you push into certain areas, instead of using your drone, if you're playing Iana, use your hologram. So use this hologram to drone ahead of you and give an in-depth angle and look around to try and find any type of defenders in the area before you go through as your actual self. Do keep in mind though, if a defender does find out that you are using the hologram, like they shoot your hologram, make sure to be aware of potential offensive threats and stuff, because they know you just came off your hologram, stuff like that. And if they hit the deploy sound, I don't know why I couldn't get that out. The deploy sound of the Iana hologram is quite loud, and if they're in range, they're probably going to hear it, and they're going to know you're in an alternate form, and they may go looking for your real body. So make sure to be aware of your surroundings. Maybe use your actual drone before you use the Iana a little bit, just to make sure you don't get pushed unexpectedly and lose your life while you are droning with this Iana hologram. But other than that, just tying back to what I was saying before, if you just use these holograms to push ahead of you and give you intel gathering statistics while you are moving around to push forward and towards the site, this is probably the best way I'd recommend utilizing this hologram. You can use it to also help out your team. It's essentially just an advanced drone, so you just want to think of it as an advanced drone. It's a drone that you have access to with human attributes, and you just want to utilize this as best as you feel like you can, in terms of just looking around, trying to find these gaps in push points, make sure there's no defenders there, and then continue to push through as your actual character until you get to the site and you need to start shooting people with the weapons that I reviewed just before. So really all around, that's really just, that's basically all you have to do. You just combine all these things together, and that's essentially how Iana works. I feel like that's the best way I would play that. That is how I would play her. Obviously she has fragging capabilities as well. She has 2 speed, 2 armor, and she has some powerful weapons, but don't forget about utilizing that hologram and being effective with the ability of extra drones that you have access to when playing her. And finally, we're going to go into the operator strategies, and I feel like Iana pretty much fulfills I'd say she's a borderline flex fragger. She has access to great weapons and she can frag incredibly well, but the thing that's making her borderline and not a fragger is the fact that she has an intel gathering gadget, and you probably should use that at least once within the round to gather intel for your team before you completely nut out and start going crazy trying to kill people, as some fraggers do. I feel like you definitely shouldn't forget about your utilization, because it can be beneficial towards the team. Unless you're solo queued, I feel like it's way more beneficial to a team when you're in a party, giving callouts from your Ianas and effectively droning with this advanced drone that you have access to. This is probably way more effective when you're in a party, but as a solo, it probably wouldn't be as strong, and you probably could focus more on the fragging side. But don't forget to give a little bit of intel to your team, even if you are playing solo, with pings and stuff, after using your Iana gadget to drone ahead and find any outliers on your way to the site. This would probably be the only way I'd recommend using her. I feel like she fits right in the middle of that gap between flex and frag. And as I said before, her fragging capabilities are really exceptional, but she just has to make sure she doesn't forget about her gadget as well, and utilizing that as best as she can before she goes into these fragging gunfights and taking up all of this stuff before she dies. I've repeated myself a few too many times, so I think I'm out of things to say. So with that said, we're going to wrap up this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to smash that like button, drop a sub and notification bell if you're interested in more videos from me, and also make sure to come check out my Twitch streams. If you did enjoy this video, do make sure to leave a comment and just let me know how you think I did well. And if you found anything that wasn't helpful, useless, just all that type of general information, let me know down below as well before you leave on how I can improve my videos, how I can make them better, and what you think you found wrong with this video. That would really help me just evolve my videos into better stuff. We're probably going to start doing operators I've already covered before, but I covered them like 10 months ago, so there's been a few updates since then, and I do want to go back and cover a few operators. We have 3 attackers to go, and I don't know how many defenders, but I think it's a bit more like 5 defenders, and then we are done. We've done every operator in the game, which is pretty crazy. So with that said though, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.